In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum class. How are you? This is our first session of chapter 3, in which we will discuss reusability technology and how it is useful for our software industry. Now, this is our basic some information you already know. Your program name, BS Software Engineering. Our course title, Object-Oriented Software Engineering. Our course code, CSC 304. And prerequisite, you already know. Book name, again we call you this name, Object-Oriented Software Engineering, Practical Software Development using UML and Java. And I am your course leader, Sana Makbul. First of all, I will discuss the agenda for lecture today, right? And you already know we are starting our chapter 3 in basing software development on reusable technology. Reusable, again, use anything that exists and that can ease our work in software industry. In this chapter, we refresh our knowledge that the object oriented paradigm is very important, and how the software development technology that can be used to construct complex software systems, right? In chapter 2, if you remember, that we have discussed object-oriented technology, and reusability concept is discussed in inheritance, in polymorphism concepts, right? How they promote reusability in software code, right? In software programming, right? Reuse is one of the keys to success the software development, and there are software development, and some few topics we will discuss are building on the experience of others and how the experience of others is important. Some types of reusability, what is reusability, and what was the role of reuse in software engineering, and some problems we will face in reusability, and what are the reasons behind these problems, and also we will discuss some advantages of it. Next, this is our chapter name, Basing Software Development used on Reusable Technology, right? Now, building on experience of others, software engineers should avoid redeveloping software that others have already developed. In other words, we can say that they should try to reuse others' work, right? And means they need to design and document software that is understandable and flexible enough to be reused in variety of different systems, right? But there are many reuse types. There are many things that the software house and the software developers can reuse, right? We will discuss these types. Another thing is, software development will become very easy and useful for future if we use the concept of reuse during software development. It must be make our culture in software industries to reuse different softwares, and we should give confidence to software developers that they should make new reusable components for future use and for other application related applications, so that their softwares can become successful, and for further application they don't need to work from scratch again. And frameworks are also promote reusability. What are frameworks? frameworks are the general solutions of general problems. In other words, it's a general structure that you can be used and make it specific for your own application. And there are some examples of reusability. You will also give me some examples of reusability you are using nowadays in our discussion session, right? I am asking this question to you and you will answer me in discussion session. Well, types of reuse. Here are some types of reuse. First one is the reuse of expertise. Well, software engineers who have many years of experience on projects and can save their time when it comes to developing new systems because they do not need to rethink many issues, and their past experience will help them and also give them solution what they need to do at this time, and they do not face as much risk and failures as compared to the others who do not have as much experience, right? Second thing is reuse of standards and designs, standard designs and algorithms. There are many various work standards, documents, and articles that can be reused and already exist of many existing systems. Third thing is reuse of libraries of classes or procedures. Libraries, many commands, are implemented using different algorithms, data structures, and other facilities. And nowadays, these facilities are becoming more and more powerful and high level. Even then, currently we are using languages of fourth generation, right? And they are important form of the use. Another thing is there are many frameworks. Frameworks are general structures that can be reused, right, for the entire application or a subsystem. They merely need to fill certain missing details in it, like hooks and slots. And hooks and slot concept we will discuss further in other slide. Next thing is reuse of complete application. Not that doesn't mean you can only reuse any problem, any solution, any suggestion, any command or procedure, any library or class. It can a whole application can also be reused for your application, like small applications, like address book is added in your existing project of a company's employees, or printer software is added to print different documents in any organization, or maybe some scanning document, or maybe some calculation of in Excel work, for calculator. A small calculator can also be added for calculation of existing records. So, right, reuse is exist in many types. This is our responsibility to check and validate that work and use for our benefit and ease and save our timing. Reusability, reuse in software engineering. Reusability concept, in this, software developers must not only reuse existing good quality components but also work on the lowest quality components of to reuse. As it's like reusable components must be developed in high quality so that another person who want to use your component must have confidence that it is of good quality. And reuse and reusing design and reusing some components must be the part of a culture of software development organization, and they do not practice to reuse uh, uh, those components and do not practice to or and develop reusable components, and because they do not have as much confidence, and the developers are not being rewarded over it, right? Reusability should be given reward over it. Should developer should have confidence for this, so that he can take pain and doing effort over it. If they are get reward over it, and they get appreciation among over it, right? As Newton says, if I have been further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants, right? This saying means, if he has some base, right? He has shoulder of giant. He has a strong base of reusable component. Then he can develop another own application, specific application over it. If the base is very weak and of lowest quality, he couldn't develop another project, right? No, of good quality, right? Even he put all efforts in all painstaking cost and money and efforts and suggestions over another work, if his work's base of reusable component is very very weak and of poor quality. Now there are some problems during reusing some components or developing reusable components. First thing is extra time, extra work, extra effort, right? Developers are often willing to reuse packages of code delivered with different programming languages, but they are reluctant to develop new ones because they are uh, they are not get rewarded over it, and they are spending an extra time over it, which is not using or utilizing in the current project, right? This effort is not utilized in the current project, and even and especially they are reluctant to develop the entirely new framework, right? The current customer only needs one application, and why they take extra time needed to develop something that will benefit others' application? That it seems less convincing them, and they need to fulfill their extreme deadlines. Thus, they are reluctant to develop the reusable components for future use. Another thing is that the reusable component is not visible to our to management and administration, and the management only reward the effort of people who create the more visible final product, and that the developer will be reluctant to spend time over it, and that will be used in future purpose, and he doesn't focus for future purpose and work on the current task and fulfill their work. Another thing of low quality of reusable component is that they create in hurry without giving as much attention over it. Thus, the quality of that product is very less. Even though no component can be low quality in whole project or application, because that can be the risk factor, or this can be a disaster for whole application. Well, vicious cycle. हाई क्वालिटी यूजेबल कंपोनेंट्स नहीं बन पाते, हरी की वजह से, कॉन्फिडेंस ना होने की वजह से, रिवॉर्ड ना मिलने की वजह से, और लिटिल रीयूज होता है। उसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स हैं और वो फेस करनी पड़ती हैं। सबसे बेसिकली ये तो कि हमारे पास जो कॉस्ट और मनी लग रहा होता है अलग से एक यूजेबल कंपोनेंट बनाने के लिए, और सॉफ्टवेयर कॉस्ट जो है वो सिर्फ फाइनेंशियल कॉस्ट नहीं होती। सॉफ्टवेयर कॉस्ट के अंदर हार्डवेयर कॉस्ट भी आती है, टाइम भी आता है। सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर जो उसके लिए बिजी होता है, और जो उसके लिए हमने बुक किया होता है उस वर्क के लिए, जिसको वो असाइन किया होता है, वो पर्सन खुद भी एक कॉस्ट होता है। इसके अलावा इंटरनेट इश्यूज, ऑल प्रोग्रामिंग एंड एप्लीकेशन एप्लीकेशन इश्यूज सॉफ्टवेयर उसके लिए चाहिए, जो परचेज करने सॉफ्टवेयर परचेज करने पड़ते हैं उसके लिए, ऑल एंड एवरीथिंग इज़ अ कॉस्ट। अनदर थिंग इज इन्वेस्टमेंट जो है वो उन पर नहीं की जा रही होती है। सो इन्वेस्टमेंट अगर कोई कंपनी करे, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इसको एक्सेप्ट करे कि हाँ यूजेबल कंपोनेंट्स के ऊपर भी इन्वेस्टमेंट करनी चाहिए, तो देन इट विल बी बेटर। और इसके अलावा अटेंशन नहीं दे सकता यूज़र, जो है अटेंशन देगा सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर रीयूजेबल कंपोनेंट बनाने के लिए, तो उतनी ही उसकी क्वालिटी अच्छी होगी। उसे कॉन्फिडेंस होगा कि रीयूज़र इसके हैं, ये रीयूज़ होगा, ये रिवॉर्डेड है, राइट। और इसके अलावा जितना रीयूजेबल कंपोनेंट की क्वालिटी अच्छी होगी, उतना ही प्रोजेक्ट की क्वालिटी अच्छी होगी, डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनली, राइट। क्यों? सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोडक्ट उतना अच्छा होता है जितना उसका लोएस्ट क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट कंपोनेंट अच्छा होता है, राइट। लोएस्ट क्वालिटी कंपोनेंट बिल्कुल इसी तरह जिस तरह हमारे पास चेन जो है वर्क करती है, उसका चेन का कोई एक हुक भी अगर वीक है तो जो है उसके वो पूरी की पूरी चेन जो है वो वीक होती है। यूजेबल कंपोनेंट्स सिंप्लीफाइड होने चाहिए, जिस तरह फ्रेमवर्क्स होते हैं उनमें रीयूज़ करने के लिए वो रीयूज़ जो हैं वो बहुत इजीली हो जाते हैं। Well, as we are discussing vicious cycle, in this, to avoid some problems and to break the vicious cycle, as we have discussed, the management and the administration must invest over reusable components, and the developers must give attention to the quality of the reusable components. And for this, they must have confidence, and they must ensure that their work will be encouraged, rewarded if their work is of high quality that can be reused for other application, and it will be useful for the long term projects. If the quality of the reusable component is low and the lowest quality reusable component is not good for the whole application, and it is better to give attention to the quality, and it must be it will give a base and a strong support to the culture of reusing components and making culture and adopt culture in software industries to for developing usable components for future purpose, and there must be a long-term programming behind this. Software developers must have simplified design for their application and their usable components. In this simplified design, there are two concepts comes: coupling and a cohesion. If maybe you may remember this or not, we have discussed in chapter 2 these two concepts, coupling and cohesion, right? I recall these concepts briefly. Coupling is the communication between components of the software project, right? The more the communication between components, more the software is complex, and lesser the communication between components, lesser the software is complex. And in the same way, if there is less communication between components, it means components can work there independently. An independent component is reusable for future purpose and for other related applications. Second thing is cohesion. Cohesion means components of a software project must be logically related with each other, right? Conceptually related with each other. There is no communication, but they are conceptually related with each other. That decrease the integration issues also, and also make the whole project reusable and generalized for the future purpose. Well, frameworks and reusable subsystems. Framework is reusable software that is general structure that can be reused for the latest different softwares, and you make it more specific for your own application. That implements generic solution for a generalized problem, uh, and it provides many facilities that is applicable for different application programs. Here's a principle behind this. Applications that do different but related things tend to have quite similar design, right? Like in your own projects that you are developing in your in the semester, uh, you use quite similar designs, right? In that way, that like you are making a library system or a banking system, then there are many similar designs exist on internet or of in other application, and you use the basic structure of this or basic framework of these applications and make them specific to your own for your own project, right? Well, frameworks, to what we use, frameworks are actually intrinsically incomplete. This means that there are certain classes or methods that are used by the framework and but which are missing. And there are two concepts in this: slots and hooks, right? The missing part are called slots, and the missing part and the slot that is optional, and that is optional for developer who add it or not in the current application as a hook, right? In this way, the applications developer fills these some slots with some classes, with some procedures, or with any some public libraries which are needed for the current application, and fill it and make the framework existing framework more complex, right? In the same way, there are some slots that are optional, and where developers add optional functionality of different kinds. And we will, if, and another, you will also see some slots and hooks in your current projects, and you need to tell in our discussion session. Right? Here's a question for you that you need to tell about the new slots and hooks exist in your project, right? And how these are utilizing currently in current semester for you. Another name API, well-known word for you. These are some framework services that our developers used, right? From and taken these services together for the current framework and make the framework available and working for it, for your for their project, right? Now, object-oriented frameworks. In object-oriented paradigm, if you remember or recall in chapter 2, you know that we make classes, we make function within a class, we inherit classes with each other. There are many public methods and private methods within a class, and there are classes. Right. In the same way, the framework, the concept we have discussed in previous slides, the framework is in object-oriented frameworks are composed of library of classes. They are meant it's a combination of public classes, and in classes there exist some public functions which can also be said as routines. The routines are actually the routines are the public functions. They are that are ready-made and can be used for any purpose, right? And the libraries are also composed of many classes that are public, which means that can be used on if they can be if they are applied in the current application, right? In the same way, API is a set of public methods of these classes, right? And usually the classes are abstract, and you know the abstract classes mean, and we have discussed the abstract class concept in chapter 2, and you will tell what means abstract class is and how the simple class and abstract class is different with each other. We have discussed in chapter 2. You must recall this concept and discuss in our discussion section, right? एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ फ्रेमवर्क्स, ये बहुत सारे मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम्स हैं जो आपने आजकल प्रोजेक्ट्स उठाए हैं, उनमें से भी ये कुछ होंगे। आपका अपना प्रोजेक्ट जो है वो उसका एग्जिस्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क क्या है कि उसका उसको उसके एग्जिस्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क को भी आपने सर्च करना है। वैसे भी जो आजकल आप प्रोजेक्ट्स बना रहे हैं वो आप स्क्रैच से तो नहीं बना रहे, आपने बहुत सारे बने बनाए डिज़ाइन उसके लिए लिए हैं, बनी बनाई क्लासेस ली हैं, बनी बनाई एनिमेशंस ली हैं। कोई वेबसाइट बना रहा है तो उसका बना बनाया उसने बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर या बेसिक वेबसाइट जो है वो उन्होंने डाउनलोड करके फिर उसको अपने मुताबिक स्पेसिफिक कर रहे हैं। पेरोल मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम, बायर फ्रीक्वेंट बायर क्लब, यूनिवर्सिटी रजिस्ट्रेशन सिस्टम, ई कॉमर्स से रिलेटेड वेबसाइट, और इसके अलावा कुछ जो हैं बिल्ट इन प्रोजेक्ट्स जो माइक्रोवेव ओवन्स या वॉशिंग मशीन्स या प्रिंटर्स के कुछ सॉफ्टवेयर होते हैं, ये हमारे पास इनके बने बनाए एग्जिस्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क्स मौजूद हैं। क्योंकि ये ओल्ड सिस्टम्स हैं, ये हमारे पास बहुत टाइम से यूज़ होते चले आ रहे हैं। इनको इस तरह के सिस्टम्स को अगेन यूज़ करना हो तो हम स्क्रैच से नहीं बनाएंगे, हम इनके एग्जिस्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स उठा लेंगे जो जनरलाइज होंगे और उनके अपने मुताबिक स्पेसिफिक कर लेंगे, राइट। Now, the conclusion. And conclusively, we have discussed few topics in it. What is reusability? How important it is? What is the purpose of reusability in software industry? How it will ease our working on software projects, and what is the need behind this? And a need is actually the because of softwares are becoming more and more complex, and thus there is a need of usability for them. There are some problems behind this, and we have discussed the problems and also the reasons behind these problems. And for these problems, software industries face vicious cycle for this, and we discuss how we can break this vicious cycle, right? And also discuss frameworks, simple frameworks and object-oriented frameworks, their role, right? And you need to give some examples of frameworks currently being used. You need to search over it and also write a basic and short note over it, the examples of framework and their need, right? Okay, Allah Hafiz.